Welcome to FBB Forum. I'm very pleased to welcome the beautiful IFBB figure pro athlete Rachel Sedwick to the podcast.
Hi.
Rachel is sponsoring the Steve Karr Classic this year, and which is coming up on November 8th in Las Vegas. And her coaching company, Refined Strength, is donating prize money for the women's pro bodybuilding division. And this is actually the first year that women's bodybuilding pro will be featured at the Steve Karr show, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And I also plan on attending the show in person myself, so I look forward to meeting Rachel and meeting all the other athletes too, and as well as Austin Karr, the promoter. But welcome, Rachel. It's great to meet you virtually.
Hi. Great to be here. Thank you for
Thank
having me
you.
on.
Oh, you're welcome. No, thank you. I was really impressed when I found out that you're going to be sponsoring and helping sponsor there at Steve Carr's show. And so why did you decide to get involved as a sponsor there?
For those of you that don't know, I did sponsor a show earlier this year. It was my first time sponsoring a show that was the Texas Pro, and I chose to sponsor Pro Figure at the time for that show because the sponsor previously had dropped out. I really wanted to bring it back and make sure that like all of my figure sisters could compete because so much of the time, like over the last few years especially, we've seen kind of a drop in more of the muscular divisions, figure, women's physique, women's bodybuilding specifically. They're all not at the Arnold anymore, for example. And so that's been pretty hard for a lot of us who are in those divisions or who just are big fans of the divisions. And unfortunately, like once those things happen and they get dropped from shows, there's not a lot that anyone can do. And so you hear a lot of chatter about it, you hear a lot of talk, and people are upset, rightly so. But I just decided, like, well, I have a business and I have a platform. My business is doing well. And part of my business and part of my values for my business is to just make bodybuilding a better place and to be a part of the growth of the sport in more ways than just as an athlete and just as a coach. So fast forward to later this year, Austin Karr, the promoter, he asked me if I wanted to donate or put forth prize money for women's bodybuilding because it is the first time that they're going to have it at the show. And so I thought that was really cool. And I thought about it. And at first, I wasn't like entirely sure if I was going to be able to do it. And then I just thought about it more and I realized like this is another opportunity for me to do what I said I was going to do, which is be a part of the growth of the sport in ways that don't get enough attention, in my opinion, or in others' opinion. And even though women's bodybuilding is not my division, I'm a figure pro. It is a really cool division, and it's really beautiful seeing these women on stage, seeing these women push themselves all the way to the Olympia or to the women's, what's the Rising Phoenix show as well.
Yeah,
It's just a really cool spectacle, and like the hard work of these women should really be celebrated. And I don't think they're celebrated as much as they should be, simply because it's just like it's not as popular a division, right? And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to be a part of that and put forth that effort and that energy and help do what I can.
I think that's terrific that you're doing that. I think and to sponsor two shows like that this year, I think is terrific. That's really great. Um,
Yeah, it's been fun and it's definitely opened me up to a lot more people and just like conversations too. I think that's another thing that people don't think about as enough is just the things that can come about from something like this. Like yes, sponsoring the show, so there's prize money, there's like the ability to have it at the show, but at the same time there's also conversations, and I hope that maybe like other women and other people in general want to decide to be more than just an athlete, be more than just a coach, and like sponsor a show because you just want to see that division prosper and grow.
I think that's terrific. Yeah, so you can inspire other people to be sponsors. I think that's great. Yeah. You mentioned during the Texas Pro that you got to actually go up on stage and give the trophies and stuff too, which I think
Yeah,
that's kind of a neat way,
it
but
was
also
really
that's
cool.
kind of
Yeah.
nice exposure for your company too.
Yeah, I got my logo, my ads up there, things like that. So that's another obvious benefit of sponsoring a show is like your brand gets pushed more and like everybody knows about branding is like the more your brand is out there, the more attention it gets. So the more people might be looking at it and seeing, oh, what is she doing? What could I, is there room for me to like learn more about this person or this coaching brand? My coaching business, actually today is the 2-year anniversary of me announcing Refined Strength. I was with a coaching company before Refined Strength, and I decided to go off on my own, start Refined Strength, and it's been a really cool journey. Just being in business for myself, and then stepping into leadership. And I have two coaches under me who also work with me. Daraja Weidemoyer, she's a bikini Olympian, and then Jessica Best, also bikini competitor. Also, both of them are really great coaches, and together we just have a really great team and energy that we get to put out and impact athletes with.
That's terrific. I think that's awesome. And congrats on your 2-year anniversary too with the company.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, very good. Um, Now you have another side gig that I think is really interesting too. You do DJ at shows too, and you're going to be the DJ at Steve Carr Classic. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of how me and Austin got connected is I've worked for his shows for the last couple years. I've been working as a DJ, and I say that in air quotes because I'm not like a really cool fancy DJ. I don't have anything other than my laptop. So
Oh, cool.
yeah. Basically how it started, kind of background, I when I got my pro card in 2017, I had this feeling of like wanting to just be a part of the sport in a bigger way, and because I was a pro, right? And I wanted, like, I wasn't coaching at the time, and I really wanted to just be a part of the sport in a bigger way. And so I asked my local promoters. At the time I was in Washington State in the Seattle area. I asked them, Brad and Elaine Craig, they've been promoters for the last like 60 years, recently retired, but I asked them if I could help out at their show, which was the Emerald Cup, and they let me hang out backstage, basically help me. I expedited, I did backstage work, like all sorts of little like odd jobs with that show, and it was a really fun experience. And then they later offered me the role of like music and DJing because they were just unhappy with their DJ at the time for their other shows. They had 4 shows at the time, and
Okay.
so I did one show, it worked out, and then from there, I tell people like the reason promoters hire me is just because I'm unproblematic. Whereas like a lot of people will, maybe a promoter hires a professional DJ who like does that for a living, but they don't really know bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to be a DJ, whereas like they don't really understand like the vibes of the different divisions, or they don't understand as much like how routines are supposed to start and stop, and the lag time between and things like that. And
Yeah.
so that's why I've been able to like continue and keep adding shows. So now I work for pretty much all the Vegas promoters now. I work for Patrick Sampson, both of his shows, for Austin Karr, his shows when I can make it out. I've worked for Remy. I've worked for I still do all the shows, a lot of the shows in Washington, like Emerald Cup, and some shows in Idaho as well. So
Wow, that's so cool. And you said you live in Dallas area?
I do. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. And I was telling you before we started recording, I only know of one other female DJ that does bodybuilding shows, or
Events.
is
Yeah.
Kelly Lynn, and I just think that's neat. I think more women should get involved in that too. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think like more people in general should just be more involved in bodybuilding in ways outside of the athlete, because
Hmm.
especially if you want longevity in the sport and if you want to stay just like involved. And the reason I think that's important is because when you're an athlete and you don't have any type of involvement in the sport outside of that, it just kind of like you don't really see the whole sport. And the
Mm.
whole sport is a really beautiful thing. It is also a business. And so for me, when I started working at shows, I started realizing that, and it really gave me a deeper respect for the sport as it is. And
Hmm.
that gave me a deeper respect for judges. Being working at shows, I got to hang out with a lot of judges, go to dinner with them, like hear from them and understand, like, well, why did this girl win? When maybe I had another girl winning or something like that, like understanding more about how judging works, understanding
Yeah.
more about how shows work. And so as an athlete and now as a coach, it has helped me just like expand my worldview around bodybuilding. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of times people don't fully understand, they might get a little bitter about something that goes on in bodybuilding, like someone dropping a division or, judging going a certain way or something like that. Where
Hmm.
but a lot of times those people, all they are is an athlete, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's all you want to do. But if you don't really get how judging works, or if you don't really get like how expensive shows are to run, how expensive it is to sponsor or to put on a pro show, then you just don't know. And if you don't
Yeah.
know, you can't respect like why things happen the way they do. So I think it's given me a lot of just peace in that. And it's made me a better athlete. It's made me a more patient athlete and a more patient coach as well. And it's helped me
Mhm.
pass those things on to my athletes too, so I can explain how judging works and explain how little things in terms of like the backstage and like organization of the show works.
Hmm. That's terrific. I think that's really cool. Yeah, and gaining that insight like that, and yeah, you're right about. I know some athletes who are also expediters, or they help with
Yeah.
tanning or backstage and that sort of thing. And I like what you mentioned about getting to know the judges too,
Yeah.
because I think the judges are human. They and they deserve some respect too, because they
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 work really hard. And
they
like it
do.
might not be backbreaking work, but it kind of is like you're sitting for an entire day looking
Yeah.
at bodies, hundreds of bodies sometimes. Like if imagine someone at a national show, like Bill Sibilia, he had judged North Americans, for example. That's like a 5-day show, and he was there for every single division as the head judge.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
imagine that. That's a hard job. So you have to be on your shit as a judge. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's some people that are better than others at any skill, but it's, a lot of people, if they don't like how the judging ends up, they blame the judges when in reality, it's like they're still human and they're working hard, but they're still human. They have human eyes.
Yeah. I always thought they have to wear a diaper or something because they don't get much bathroom
They do
breaks.
take breaks, and oftentimes shows will have alternates too. So they'll have
Oh,
like even though there's only five judges actively judging, they'll have more judges than that that are able to step in for various lineups and things like that.
oh, that's really cool. I know I have seen them take breaks, but sometimes it takes a long time to get a break too. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Um, now, I can't remember if you mentioned, but how long have you known Austin Karr, who of course is Steve Carr's son, and
Mhm.
and he's the promoter for Steve Carr Classic.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Steve Karr was like one of the longest running promoters, like or like had one of the longest running shows in NPC history as the Steve Karr Classic.
Yeah,
And I don't remember when he actually passed, but Austin's been promoting the show since then or for the last few years, and I got connected with him through me working for Patrick Sampson and Lisa Malloy, who is, I believe, Lisa's the NPC like chairman, or she like shares chairmanship down there in Vegas. I could be wrong on that, but I know she's high up over there. She's oftentimes head judging and judges a lot of shows and works with
okay.
Sandy. But yeah, so she ends up recommending me to a lot of promoters. So that's how I've gotten work with a lot of different promoters, is because everyone trusts Lisa. And so, she recommends me and I go for that. So I worked his show 2 years ago, and then I worked the Las Vegas Pro Am this year with him, and then I'm back for this show.
That's terrific. I think that's great that you're doing that. It was interesting what you said about as a DJ, knowing bodybuilding, and it's something like a professional DJ wouldn't necessarily know. But I think that's a really good point, I think, in terms of knowing the flow of the show and
Yeah, because like you have to think about who's competing. You have a variety of ages, a variety of just like demographics, and a lot of times like wellness girls want to listen to like want to pose to like a little bit different music than maybe bikini girls do or
Mhm.
fit model or whatever. Same thing with like men's physique versus bodybuilding. Like there's just slightly different vibes, and so like and I also just listen and I watch in the show, and oftentimes I'm backstage. So sometimes athletes will like see me with my laptop and they'll be like, "Ooh, can you play this or can you play that?" And so I'll get kind of a vibe for what we want for that too. So
Hmm. That's cool. you
Yeah.
have to keep track of all the individual routines too, because
Yeah.
the peoples that bring in their own music for the, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's important to keep track of that too, because you don't want the wrong music popping up for.
No, and like that happens like very seldomly. I haven't put the wrong music out there for someone in a long time, but generally it's just because of a technical difficulty or something like that.
Yeah, I
But
got you.
yeah, people generally will competitors submit their music ahead of time, and then I already have it before the show, like before they even check in. And then if not, then I just get sometimes I'll edit a routine for them or something like that if they need that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Yeah. Um, Now I know of two athletes that are making their pro debut at the show. Brittany Parrish, who was going to join us originally, but she wasn't able to make it, and Elizabeth Moline. And I know some of the shows in women's bodybuilding haven't had good turnouts this year, but
Yeah.
what would be like, what do you think would be ideal number of athletes for to compete at this show, just to kind of help you and help your company?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's especially for like these divisions, like women's physique and women's bodybuilding te tend to be like between 5 and 10 people in a single show. And so
Hmm.
it's like some shows will be bigger, right? Like some bigger shows will have like 20 or more women's physique, but with bodybuilding, it's just there's fewer women that do it in general. So there's going to be fewer women who are all ready to do one show. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
but I would love to see 10 women up there. I think that would be awesome. It's in Vegas. It's right after the Olympia, not too far off. So if the women are doing the Olympia, they can easily jump into that show if they want, without too much time in between. So I think, Vegas in general is just a big area for bodybuilding. I know there's definitely plenty of women's bodybuilders who live there. Um,
Hmm. That's
and it's an
true.
easy place to get to too. So I think it's kind of a perfect show. It's at the end of the year. It qualifies you for the next year. And it's a great promoter. He does a great job. I've been to his show before, and he is like puts on a great show. They treat the athletes really well. So yeah, I think that would be awesome if there were 10 women. I doubt it'll be that many, but at least over 5 is always good, just because then you get like a full lineup, you get good competition generally. So yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah, 10 would be ideal, but yeah, between 5 and 10 would be great though too, I think. And
yeah,
so yeah, and no, I think that's really cool that you're doing that. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about more about refined strength. In terms of do you work with bodybuilding and lifestyle clients, and do you have male and
yeah.
female clients too?
Yeah, so I work with really anyone. So I work with mostly competitors, and then my two coaches also work with competitors and lifestyle alike. So I like working with all divisions, honestly. So I have like a good chunk of women who are in figure, but then a couple of them who also want to maybe try women's physique at some point. And then I have a good chunk of bikini, like so bikini and figure are kind of my main two divisions that I coach, but I do have a number of girls that want to do wellness that are just kind of building for that because it takes a while. And then I have one fit model girl right now, but
Oh,
or two
really?
actually, yeah.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
yeah, and then I do coach lifestyle as well. A lot of my lifestyle athletes are more so like they're either ex-competitors or they're people who just like they kind of want to be treated like a competitor. They may not want to get stage lean, but they want to get in really good shape and just like be really fit. And I also a big part of my coaching is just the mindset side of things and teaching the mindset that is necessary to become an elite athlete and to push yourself to that level. And so I think a lot of people, even though they don't necessarily want to look like a competitor, they want that aspect of the coaching as well. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The mindset is very important, and
mhm.
bodybuilding is more of a mental sport almost,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um, I was curious, do you work with virtual clients only, or do you have in person too?
I don't do any in person. No, I do have a good amount of local people here in Dallas. So like recently, I just had a mini meetup where I just invited people out to work out at Metroflex Plano, and that was really cool. I had like 15, 20 people come out to that, but no, everyone is online, so they all do their weekly check-ins. They submit a form. We communicate via WhatsApp. So, and then we'll occasionally do like a phone call or posing sessions as needed.
Okay, that's terrific. Very cool. That's great. Brittany Parrish, who I mentioned, she also lives in Dallas, and so you'll get to meet her at
Yeah,
Steve Carr Classic. Yeah, she's
yeah, I'm
amazing,
excited.
beautiful woman too.
And where did she do? Where did she get her pro card?
At North Americans in 2023, so she
Okay,
took
so she
this.
spends time off a little bit.
Yeah, took time off, and she had some health issues actually that kind of forced her to take time off. But no, she's really cool. I really like her a lot. She's tall too, so I think she's going to be tower over some of these shorter women.
Yeah, tall bodybuilders are tough because it's like you gotta have a lot of muscle to fill out your frame, but once
Yeah,
you do, it's like it's really impressive. So,
she does. She's got a lot of muscle, I think, for sure. So yeah, I'm curious to see how she ends up looking. I want to talk a little bit about your competitions too. And I saw you compete at the Hurricane Pro last year, and you looked really
mhm.
great there. What was your experience like at that show?
It was a great experience, honestly. I got 10th at that show, and when I started with my coach, Mark, I started with him at the very end of 2021 when I got off stage that season, and I told him like I just want to be able to get in a top 10. That was my main goal because up until that point, I just didn't have the right coaching and I didn't have the right guidance in general. And as a pro, I had not done well. I had basically been at the bottom for the last couple years. 20 basically after I got my pro card, I did a few shows and just tried to improve and didn't ever make it very far. And
Hmm.
but I still had this feeling that I could do better, that I had it in me to do better and place higher. So I hired Mark and we spent 2022 and all of 2023 off just growing. And then in 2024, started prep around a May and then competed at Hurricane. That was the first show. And it kind of felt like a pro debut 2.0, like a second chance at my pro debut, even though I had done several pro shows already, because it,
Hmm.
it was just a very different look, a very different vibe. Everything was different. And I was ecstatic to get in the top 10, honestly. It was a really competitive show, really great women there. And yeah, I love everything about the look was amazing. So I was really, really happy with that. It was a good experience. Tim Gardner is great promoter. And it was fun just being down in Florida. I had my other coach, Jess, she was also competing in the amateur show. And so we got to share that experience, and that was really nice. And it was a great amateur show as well. Um, and then 3 weeks later, I did the Texas State Pro Am in San Marcos, Texas. And that was definitely even better because like 10th, I was like, great, checked it off. I'm good. That was amazing. But I know I can do a little bit better. And I never want to do just one show in a season. I always think that we should do more shows, especially as competitors. Like when we do spend so much time off, we got to get the most out of our season. So like compete a few times, especially when you're a pro and there's money on the line or you can get to the Olympia potentially. So I did the Texas State and I got third. And that was next to Jessica, who won, Jessica Reyes Padilla, and then D Jackson, who got second. And the that was an incredible experience being next to that caliber of athlete and getting third next to like second at the Olympia. That was amazing. So that kind of was the thing that showed me that I can really do anything that I want. I can push myself. I can get where I want to get to. I do want to get to the Olympia, so that is the next goal. So for me, I had to set the first goal, which is like I just want to get top 10. And then the next goal, I just want to get a little bit better than that. Let's see what I can do. Okay, I got third. All right, now I know I can qualify if I really want to. So that's what I'm gonna do.
That's awesome. Hold on just a second. I have somebody knocking at my door. I'll be right back. Sorry about that pause, but yeah, congratulations on top three. And yeah, you looked amazing. And that was only like a month later, wasn't it? Basically, or even less than
Yeah,
a month,
3 weeks. 3 weeks
3 weeks.
between shows. Yeah.
Wow, that's terrific. Yeah. So are you able to dial it in a little bit more, do you think, in terms of conditioning and stuff to
That was the main change is I got a little leaner, so we shaved off a couple more pounds and that just made the peak a lot better too. We also changed a couple things in my peak because there had been a couple things that my coach had like pulled from my meal plan that I had been eating the whole prep, that I think it didn't like mess with anything, but it definitely just changed things a little bit for the first peak. So we just brought that food back in for the second peak. Basically, like I was eating sourdough the entire prep, and he just like
Oh,
isn't familiar with using sourdough as a bread to eat during peak week.
uh-huh.
And so just not his norm for being a part of a peaking meal plan. And so I told him like, hey, I eat this every day. It's part of my digestive health. It's part of just like where I'm getting sodium. It's just like it's a normal food for me. I asked him,
Yeah.
like, what do you think about me eating this during this peak week for this next show? And he was like, that's totally fine. So we did that. We added more sodium. We just like tweaked a few little things with sodium and water, and that was really it. So we didn't have to
Wow.
change a whole lot, but it made a much drier, tighter look, and that enabled us to get fuller too. So
Wow, that's awesome. And that was at the highest you'd ever placed, was top three?
yeah.
Wow, congratulations. That's so
Before that,
awesome.
top 10 was highest I'd ever placed. So top three was amazing.
Oh yeah, so last year was a really amazing year for you, huh? For
Yeah.
competing. That's awesome. And so you might come back next year, you think?
The plan is to compete a little earlier in the year next year. So last year I was competing at the end of the year, like the final shows of the year, basically. And then so this year I want to get in a little earlier so I can compete in a few more shows, potentially just get myself out there, compete more often, compete with more people, things like that. And then yeah, the goal is to get a qualification. So
That's terrific. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, I hope you get the O qualification for next year. That'd be great.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, are you, I was just curious if you're coming to the Olympia as a spectator this year.
I will be at the Olympia this year. I'm going to be at the Axe and Sledge booth. I'm an athlete with them, and so we're going to be there, booth 511. I'll be there Friday and Saturday for all day, as far as I know. So
Terrific. Well, I'll
yeah,
get a chance to meet you then. That'd be nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
come by the booth.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm excited about the show too. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't remember if you said, but when did you get your pro card and how long have you been competing in bodybuilding in general?
I got my pro card in 2017. I won my class at NPC Nationals in Miami,
Okay.
and that was my first national show. It was my fourth show I had ever competed in. My first show was in 2015. So I
Oh,
did
wow.
my first show 2015, did another show 2016, and then did one show to qualify for nationals or to just warm up for nationals in 2017, and that was it. So
Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. Yeah, so it's 10 years in bodybuilding then this year.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah. And like I said, what you said about going beyond being an athlete, I think is really cool because I think you kind of get to know more behind the scenes and you kind of getting your name out there beyond being an athlete too, So I think that's a really
Yeah,
good thing.
just like creating a lasting legacy. That part isn't as much important to me, but it is like a part of it. The biggest part of it is just like helping people and just like leading by example too. I think more people can step up if they really want to see change, and so that's what I'm doing. I want to see change, so I'm stepping up. And so just in more ways than just like sponsoring a show, it's also about just like putting yourself out there, putting out content as a muscular female. A lot of women don't post in their off season because they're not as confident in their off season physiques, right? And
Mhm.
I just like I'm in anything I do, it is for me, but it's also for in terms of like anything I do publicly, it's also for others. It's to like show others that like this is okay. This is something that like should be normalized, or it's okay to take up space. It's okay to like push yourself or push outside your comfort zone, that kind of thing.
I like that. Yeah, so you can inspire other people. I think that's really good. That's great. You mind me asking how old are you?
I'm 32.
32, really? Wow. Yeah, you just seem kind of wise beyond your years. I thought you were older than that, just not looks wise, but just in terms of like just the way you present yourself. That's impressive. So yeah, no, um, no, that's cool. You seem really wise too. So yeah, just
Thank you.
I think that's awesome. Well, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for joining me. And I'll try to get this posted probably later today. and of course tag you and Austin and Steve Karr Classic. And look forward to meeting you at the Olympia and at Steve Karr Classic too. I think it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, definitely. They're gonna be great shows if anyone's listening and you're still like in prep or whatever, you're prepping for the Olympia, like consider coming to the Steve Carr, competing and being a part of history.
And if people want to reach out about coaching, they can go to
Yeah, they can go
Refined Strength.
to my Instagram, Rachel Sedwick IFBB, or my coaching Instagram, refine.strength.coaching.
And I'll make sure to include those down in the comments below if
Thank
people
you
want to
so
find
much.
out more. No, but that sounds good. Well, thanks again, Rachel, and best wishes to you and see you soon.
Thank you so much, David. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.